Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
From multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass.
We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. Okay, welcome back to the Operator Podcast once again. This officially, I guess, is episode 36, but we are still with Drago. Just an incredible life story. I mean, it's crazy. I can't believe when Drago tells a story. It's like it's almost like it couldn't have happened. I'm in awe of it, the stuff that he went through, and we're going to continue that journey. Yes, he was a Navy SEAL, decorated combat veteran, but there was so much on the way there, so many lessons learned, and so much adventure's not quite the word, but what else are you going to call it? We're going to get back into that. Can we back up just a little bit and tell us about your horrific prison experience?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm serious. I've known you a long time, and I'm reading this book, and I'm like, being a Navy SEAL is like the least interesting thing he's done.
Being a Navy SEAL, but being an American is something I'm extremely proud of. So when I was mentioned earlier, we were printing these newspapers when the socialism and communism imposed martial law in 1981, in December 1981. But remember, they were losing control after a visit of John Paul II, the Pope in Poland. The Poles start organizing themselves. They built a Solidarity, the trade union organization that was totally independent from Communist Party in Poland. So socialists and communists felt like they are losing control over the society. So next thing, they start preparing martial law. They start building the lists of political activists, priests, and other people to arrest them. And there was thousands of people. And they imposed martial law in December 13, 1981. The estimates go from 25 to 60,000 people arrested in one night. They were going by the list. It started midnight at the same time in the entire Poland. The secret service, the secret police with police and military start raiding Polish homes.
That's like Night of Broken Glass shit right there. That's crystal.
That was worse than that, because there was that happened in the entire country. There were people not just getting broken glass in their businesses, they were being arrested and their ass were hauled to jail.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about the shit the Nazis pulled. They all just roll in.
Oh yeah,
people in their homes.
Yeah. So they arrest so many people that there was no one, I think, in Poland not affected by arrests, by political arrests. But that was the thing that communists always said, and socialists, that there are no political prisoners in socialist states. Socialist state doesn't have political prisoners. Everybody is sitting for a crime they committed. The crime was either printing newspaper or speaking up against the socialism or speaking up the truth. But it was crime, so you were you were criminal. But in this here, when they arrest around so many thousands of people in one night, their explanation was that they are not arrested. They were not many of them were just, some of them were arrested, but most of thousands of people, they were just interned. They were sitting in internment camps. They didn't call it camps even. They were called centers. They were like vacation centers. And they took one of the vacation centers on at the Baltic, and they turned to prison. They dumped people up there. But the mantra was that the fake news media were explaining to everybody that they are just sitting in the resorts and just enjoying their time. And they are sitting there because they didn't commit any crime, so they are not criminals, but they could be potentially dangerous to the state. And that was the key word here, potentially dangerous. That was
potentially
enough, because they had so much control over the society that they could do pretty much whatever they want to do. So this is, they interned thousands of people, then we started revolting, and me and some from Solidarity, we start building the organizations, underground organizations, to resist that socialist atrocities. And but we're not smart about that. I was not smart about that. I was never exposed to this type of activities. So I said, we're just going to start quietly print newspapers and disseminate to people. So we print maybe 200, 300, 400, 500 of them. And we're living in different points of the cities. Pretty naive, right? Because there was so many agents, so much infiltration in the society by the socialist agents that they got a beat on us very quickly. And then we end up, so I was arrested in 1982, right at the beginning of 1982, and hauled my ass to jail. And again, by this time, I was doing kickboxing, I was doing taekwondo, I was pretty good. We need to come back to this learning the fight before I was arrested, how I was fighting. But so I got to prison. They arrested me, and this is where I had to start learning very new things in my life. How to survive in prison. And,
I mean, what's like? You mentioned the first place you went. It was so dark. You had to feel your way, and there's like full of other prisoners.
Yeah, there was at night, and it was in the Secret Service, Secret Police headquarters. So they throw me into that cell, and actually it was the middle of the night. It was like maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I come in up there, I didn't even see anything. I just try to send some voice from the somewhere in the darkness. Find the wall, find space, sit down and sleep. Okay, so I did that. And so I woke up in the morning, like everybody, they turned the lights on. And there was like a cell, maybe like, I don't know how to describe, I don't know how it's the feet, but there was enough cell that there was a pedestal. Like a pedestal, you could actually dance on it. And so that was a bed. But there was so many of us, only few of those ringleaders were sleeping there. The rest of the guys were sleeping on the floor around this pedestal. And this is where I had the first run-in with one of the criminals there.
How'd that go?
Well, not good for him. That was we're always hungry. This is normal tactic. This is how they operate. When they arrest you for anything, you gotta be always cold and always hungry. This is the method that can bring you down easier, because eventually you're not starving to death, but you are hungry enough that it's nagging you. I was used to it, but so it didn't bother me too much. But they always do that. So so the first thing when I woke up, this big guy comes up and say, "I'm going to eat your breakfast today. You are a new guy here." I was like, hell no, I just knock him out. And then I was thinking, like, if I let it go, it is going to, I always will be hungry. The motherfucker will be eating always my breakfast and lunches. Yeah. So I just carefully, he was lying there sleeping nicely after the shot. So I lift his upper lip up carefully and just knock his 2 front teeth up in and just pull them out. And so when he came to his senses, he didn't have a teeth. He was bleeding from his mouth. I was very careful. I lift his lip so that I didn't go and break his lip, and so I just knock his teeth out with the knuckle. Mm-hmm. So
what'd you do with the teeth?
I hold them. I thought I'll just make a necklace out of it, but so I tried to hold on to it, and I was holding that for a pretty good time. I was even those teeth survive in my pocket for until I was moved to another prison, and even there I had them stashed carefully until. But
not just teeth out and kept them.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. So I was thinking, when I leave the prison one day, I didn't have anything on me basically. So I said, well, hopefully they will let me go. What a naive thinking, the communists. But so I was thinking of holding on to these teeth. Hopefully I will leave out, so we'll make a cool necklace out of it and brag about it. But during one of the searches, they found it, and they
found somebody else's teeth in your pocket. That was something else you said too. Is I'm paraphrasing, but you said the fight's over when you decide it's over, not when they give up.
That's what we learned, because so let's go back a little bit before prison. So when I came back from father, I was already doing boxing, got involved in Zielona. When I came back to my mother, I got involved in karate kyokushin, and I was pretty good at it. And then when we moved to City Lodz in the middle of Poland with my family, then I switched karate kyokushin to taekwondo, because taekwondo guys, I like that. They were walking on the streets. They were actually picking up the fights, and then they were criticizing each other. So basically, there's like 4 or 5 are walking in. So, hey, this guy looks pretty good, pretty tough. So let me go beat him up. And so the rest of us were actually watching it and say, yeah, your kick was not strong enough, or you missed the kick right here. Basically, we criticized. There was no cameras. If we had the cameras, we would just watch the cameras and analyze, and we didn't have it. So we had to just critique each other, how the fight went. So we became so good that eventually one guy was like, no, the challenge. So we're looking for more people. And we're just going sometimes like see 3-4 people drinking beer in the stand in Poland. In the stand, you can buy the stand, you can buy the beer and sausage at the time. Sausage if you were lucky. So we just walk up to one of those 3, sometimes 4 guys, grab the bottle from his hand, spit into it, and give it back to him. You know what's going to happen then, right? That's
going to be a fight. Them's fighting words.
So we're just like inching out. We didn't want them to see that there's more of us. So we just wanted that they think that there's one, so they can jump and beat up the guy. And usually get that pretty bad for them. And this is when we start training with try to fight 2-3 guys at the time. And I tell you, we didn't lose a lot of fights. We are seldom ever. Sometimes it was like tough guy, 2 or 3 of the guys, big wrestlers and things, and they start beating up. So then the rest of us step in and just hand the hell out to them. So we kind of felt very safe when we were beating them up. But we learned one life-saving technique. I don't know if you.
Well, yeah.
The guy
paid off.
Yeah, one of the guys, it paid off. Yeah, because we really became really good. Because the way it started is the teacher, who was teaching us taekwondo, he always say that the fighting in the ring is one thing, but if you don't fight on the street, you basically don't know how to fight. The ring is one thing. There was no MMA at the time, so you have to fight on the street. You can find somebody and practice your techniques, practice the fight in the real life. And that's what this guy did. I loved it so much. I switched the styles. I went to fight with them, and but I had an incident that one of the guys, the idea also, what we learned very quickly in these fights is you don't fight until somebody comes up, gets a little bit beat up, few shots, and say, okay, I'm good, I'm done, I'm just, I'll walk away. It's like, no, I tell you when the fight's over, not you, because it happened quite often that you say, okay, go home. Next thing, you just turn around, he jumps on you or comes by with friends, and then you have to beat up 4 or 5 guys at the same time.
I'll be kicking people's asses all day here.
So there was that. So we learned that one of the guys passed out, and I was just about to walk away, and he was start shaking. I was like, "What the hell?" The nurse was there, and she just like, "Safety pen." Somebody pulled out the safety pen, so she kind of like fish hook his tongue,
so he didn't swallow it.
Yeah, he just. I was like, oh wow. So actually, she said, like, what you need to do is just pinch it and pin it to the lower lip, and then you can leave the guy. Don't ever leave somebody, even if you leave him on the side, if he's unconscious. I used to beat up the guy until he didn't move. So, I would say unconscious maybe, but so we pinned the lip to his tongue to his lower lip. So if he rolls even unconscious, his tongue will not fall in. And that was like this is life-saving technique. This is something we actually used.
Well, that's like that's combat stuff when you keep them on your boonie hat in case you need to do that. Like you're talking straight hand-to-hand combat in the streets of Poland. This is so badass.
Well, but it was so natural in Poland at the time. Think about the society. It was very the fights on the streets was so normal that people didn't have to get used to it. The people like we see the fight, they just cross the street, walk around. There's even bother. Like seldom ever somebody call police, even things like that. They were so common. So we never worry about police coming in. And if they did show up, we just run away. They wouldn't chase us for fighting. You know, if you had a typewriter, or if you had,
that's much more dangerous than a street fight.
You would be in trouble. But you know, just beating somebody up on the street at the time was not really nothing unusual. You can see
now that's fighting's before prison, right?
That was before prison. So
then because just the prison thing freaked me out, just because you were talking about busted up teeth and broken teeth and solitary confinement and just the day-to-day life, man. It's not like you're going to go to your cell and have peace.
Yeah. So what happened is that when I was transported, and this guy who I kept his teeth in my pocket, this guy was threatening me, saying, "You got to big prison," and he was one of those gang part of the gangs, those prison gangs.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass the word on you. You're gonna get killed up there. I was a little bit worried about this. Like, I never was in prison, so I would. Okay, we'll see, you know. But if you keep talking like this, I'm going to pull your lower teeth to my pocket. And I was teasing him with his teeth. I said, "You see this?
These used to belong to you. Now they belong to me, pal."
Those are my teeth now.
These are my teeth now. These are just 2 extra teeth I have. They're yours. They were yours.
Yeah, well, they pulled him out later, and I never seen him again. So
yeah.
But so when I went there, they throw me in the cell, and at the first time, I think that they were going for the shock value. I still didn't admit to anything. I still didn't want to talk to them. So in the prison time, when we came to this bigger prison, the guy came up and was like, "Hey, you know, you will do what I say." I said, "I'm not going to do what you say. I don't know who you are, and I don't give a fuck who you are." So, you know, he just tried to do something. I knocked him out.
Made it that quick.
Yeah, that was quick. That was easy. But remember, most of these thugs, they never learn how to fight. They are just big. They talk a lot of shit. They loud. But, you know, he just nailed the guy pretty good. He's just like turned into the little angel. But so what happened with me is, like, I didn't know any rules, and I was tired. And then I had an incident with this new guy in the cell, the big guy. So I said, "Well, I'm going to lay down on the bed," because I see everybody's sitting, you know, like they don't even lean on the wall. They don't lean on the bed. They just sit there. There were so many people that you couldn't, at the table could see only 4 people, right? So there are 4 people sitting on the table. They can lean on the table, but they cannot lean back. And there's no chairs, there's stools. So like all the walls, nobody's leaning on anything, except those 4 big guys leaning on the stool and sitting. They talk just like normal cell life. So I didn't think much of it. I said, it was empty bed. I take a bed. That's my bed. It's like not any longer. I say, but they tell me later that, dude, you need to get out of it, because the prison guards will come in. They will fuck you up. The rules is you don't lay in the bed during the daytime. You can't. You don't lean even on anything. I was like, dude, I'm so tired. Well, just let's see. And sure it is, you know, just I didn't even lay down for like 10 minutes. The crew came in, dragged me out, and beat me up. They didn't even say a word. They just beat me up and just throw me back in. This guy's like, and I remember before that happened, I could see this like smirking and having like smiles on their face. What's going to happen? You know, they're gonna fuck me up. The guards. So they came and they did fuck me up. They throw me back. So I was like thinking, like, I was not really resisting. I was just thinking, like, well, you know, they beat me up. So okay, so now I'm beat up. I cannot sit and stay. I go right back to bed. I lay down to bed.
Well, and they came back.
They came back. So they beat me up again, and beat me up. They throw me back in the.
Well, they punching and kicking, or they hitting with clubs, or what are they doing?
At first, they were punching me and kicking. They punched me in the back, in the kidneys, in the stomach. They tried not to punch me in the face, but they punched me in the face too. They bust my lips. You know, I was beat up. So they throw me back in. I said, like, now they really beat me up. Now I'm all fucked up. So they're not gonna do anything to me. So I'm going to go and lay down, because they know I cannot sit, I cannot stay. I'm beat up. This guy's like, dude, you shouldn't be doing this.
Do they ever get tired of it, or just keep coming back?
After, I think 3 times. 3 times the charge. So they did it again. And then they left me. So the guy I beat up, he already lost his position in the cell as being the toughest guy, right? Because he got beat up. So he said, I'm going to do the same. I said, I'm tough. He just wanted to regain a little bit, maybe the clout he had. So he lays in the bed. So I'm just thinking like, no, now they're going to beat us both again. But I just don't give a shit. I'm just like black and blue. I can't even tell if they beat me up or not. And the last time they beat me with this rubber sticks with like a steel rod inside.
Yes,
in kidneys. So that was pissing blood for a while, but that was okay. So they come in, they run in this whole gear, it's like, I was like, fuck. And they left me alone. They grabbed the guy, they pull him out, and you can hear this pounding outside the cell and the scream like, I will never do it again. Ah. So I'm just laying this bed. I said, fuck, they're going to come for me next. And I'm just getting myself ready to get beat up. But this time, first was just ignorance. I just didn't know any better. This time I say, fuck them. I'm going to just lie here and they beat me up. They throw me again. I'll be back in it. Well, they throw him in the cell, but they left me alone. So from then on, I was laying in the cell all days long. But
no kidding. They just stopped beating you because this guy can take a beating. We're just going to let him lay down.
They just left me alone. Yeah, but this guy, when they throw him in the cell, he was still screaming, the tears all over his face. He just looked around. I will sit.
Yeah. And what was that? So there's you can't only you can lay on the floor on the bed.
The rules were you have to sit, and the people who didn't have a place, because there was 4 beds, like 2 bunks, 2 bunk beds, and like 10 of us. So people who at the table was 4 places, 4 chairs, 4 stools, not the chairs, stools. So those who were sitting on the stool, they could but so the people rotating through it. But other people were just leaning on their hands, on the floor, but couldn't touch the wall. The rules was the wall is painted, so if you lean, you leave greasy spots on it. So they were just had to sit, and they were just rotating every few hours. And I didn't rotate. I just slept. I lay in the bed until they moved me to a political prison. After the investigation was gone, I was sentenced to 3 years in prison. But yeah, that was fun. At that time, there was just a learning experience, how to deal with criminals. But also another thing I need to that later on, the most of these criminals, they were not so bad. I think they put me in the worst cell just for purpose, just to break me down, because there was still investigation going on, or at least they were just trying to still get my admission to the crime.
Right. And what if you admit to it? Are you admitting you're a criminal, or are you admitting you're a political prisoner, or what?
There was no political thing.
They wouldn't let anyone think there was a political prisoner.
No. You were sitting for the crime of speaking up. You were sitting for the crime of trespassing, let's say, in the government property. You were sitting for the crime of everything was criminalized. Anything that could threaten socialism was criminalized. And you were basically criminal because, according to the code, you could not print your own newspapers. Right. That was illegal. So you sit in prison, but you sit in prison not because you're a political prisoner. You broke the law. So you are just prisoner, common criminal. And
that's what one thing Stalin said was, "Show me the man, I'll show you the crime."
Crime, yes.
It's crazy, and we see it again too. I mean, I don't mean to jump around, but we hear some people in political office here that are talking about putting certain people in internment camps. They don't say camp, but they're legitimately talking about it. We need to re-educate some of these people. It's insanity.
That's I didn't hear any of it, and I hope I never will hear it. It sounds like from Adolf Hitler's playbook, and I don't think anybody in America, any free man, would say something like this. I don't never heard of it. I think I would be very disturbed if I heard something, especially coming from politicians who are leading our nation.
Yeah, it is. It's scary. And I mean, I even saw it with you on social media when you first got out of the military. You're getting censored all the time just for speaking up against socialism. And that's not part of the agenda for a lot of these people in the press, a lot of people in political office, and they just silence you. And that sounds very, very familiar.
Yeah, still in the LinkedIn, actually did cancel my account. And but also, you're right. When I left military, I thought that I would like to be part of these people. I would like to post on the social media. I would like to be, that American on social media and stuff. But every time I wrote something about socialism, what I experienced, they shut me down. The Facebook just canceled me. And then the funny thing is that I could post about I couldn't post anything, but people could post like nasty comments, and I couldn't respond even to it because my account was locked up, except for other people posting the nasty thing about me being not getting along with socialism.
Yeah, it's great. And well, again, there's a lot of people are just spinning the language, saying it's never been done right. Now they're calling it democratic socialism, and it's just a power grab. So for one reason or another, we usually end up talking about guns at some point here, and whether it's one type or the other. Have you checked out F1 Firearms? I've mentioned them before. We've had them, these customized guns at some charity events before. They've made them with chainsaws and flamethrowers on them, which can be excessive but really cool. Their new HDR 10 308 models out, and you just check out their pistols. F1 Firearms has 5.5-inch pistols, 8.5. They're the same finishes, but there's more to come. Very light rail systems, custom thumb and finger rest to keep your index finger in line with the apex of the trigger. And F1 Firearms, just like me, actually, people pleasers. They're customized, sick anodized colors. The colors are great. They're worth checking out. The grips are light with paracord, skeletonized technology. The 5.56 durable bolt carrier groups are really cool. Law enforcement and military models, the AR-10, AR-15, 9mm. Every receiver set is fit out of the box. The rails are contoured to the upper, so there's absolutely no wiggle, and the angle of the safety can be custom the way you like it. They can be as pretty and cool as you want, out of the box, ready to show off. They are out to succeed, and they are ready to win right out of the box. Check out F1 Firearms. On the heels of the second largest bank failure in U.S. history and the 8th interest rate hike within a 12-month period, 186 more banks are at risk of collapsing. Your bank could be next unless the Fed does what they just did back in March and print $300 billion out of thin air, making your dollar worthless. Not to mention the recession risk that could have a significant impact on your investment and retirement accounts. Take my advice. Protect your financial future with something real. Gold and silver from my friends at Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA or 401k with physical gold and silver, or, if you prefer, have it delivered securely right to your front door. Since the beginning of time, there has been only one universal currency that is always of value, and that is gold. Allegiance Gold has some of the highest ratings in the industry. 5 stars with TrustLink, a AAA rating with the Business Consumer Alliance, and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. You can invest with confidence because of the quality and service of Allegiance Gold. Get up to $5,000 in free silver on a qualifying purchase when you visit protectwiththeoperator.com today, or give them a call at 844-790-9191. Don't let the Fed play Monopoly with your money. Protect your future with Allegiance Gold. Visit protectwiththeoperator.com or give them a call at 844-790-9191. I always talk about preparation every single episode, and friends, anyone who thinks they won't need emergency food isn't paying attention. Every day, the headlines get worse and worse. Is the unthinkable next? It pays to prepare. That's why I seriously recommend you stock up on emergency food right away. You never know when the next shoe will drop. And when it does, emergency food will be hard to find. So get yours now while it's on sale. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and check out their popular 3-month emergency food kit. Right now, you'll save $200 per kit. Each kit gives you a wide variety of delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, snacks, providing over 2,000 calories a day for optimum strength and energy. Act now and claim your $200 savings per kit. You will sleep better at night knowing your family won't suffer if the worst ever happens. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and you'll enjoy free shipping too. mypatriotsupply.com. Halfway through April, rolling through the new year, so that means new gear, baby. Dirty diapers, screaming fits, and sleepless nights. Parenthood is not for the faint of heart. I know that from experience. Tactical Baby Gear was founded by parents for parents with kit that you'll be proud to carry. You'll overcome every spit-up, blowout, and meltdown along the way. Prepare for whatever parenting leads you with everything cool like a fully customizable tactical diaper bag that's ready, but be ready because it could get messy. It's highly practical, highly functional, extremely high quality, always ready. Diaper bags, baby carriers, strollers, wagons, everything in between. Lifetime warranty. Use code THEOPERATOR and save 15% at tacticalbabygear.com. Veer cruisers functions as wagons and strollers, rugged aluminum frames, all-terrain, 3-point safety harness, Molly webbing, which you'll find on most of the stuff, children's snack tray, and adult cup holders, if you know what I'm saying. Tactical Baby Carrier 2.0. Baby can face in or out depending on the developmental stage and the weather, obviously. Interior is cotton padded, machine washable liner, Molly compatible again. Acknowledged by the International Hip Dysplasia Institute as hip healthy. Wear your baby like a reserve parachute on a static line. Jump, baby. So again, to save 50%, use code THEOPERATOR at tacticalbabygear.com. Plenty of other savings too. Lots of cool stuff. God, guns, and diapers, baby. And I mean, even like when you were talking about sharing the bread, only get one loaf, like you saw what happened here with the toilet paper. That just sharing shit didn't last very long. It's like every man for himself. It's like, what are they going to do when when you need to hunt
people need
for food?
Whether this is whether it is Bernie Sanders socialism, Bernie Sanders socialism, whether it is Adolf Hitler's socialism, national socialism, whether it is Leonid Brezhnev socialism, Stalin socialism, or even Polish apparatchik socialism, they all have very few. They all have few things in common. One of them is censorship, fraudulent elections, attacks on family, and political persecution of political opponents. So this is the hallmarks of socialism, and people need to realize it. That this is not just like, hey, everybody will get something from somebody, and we government will gonna decide how much gets what from whom. That's a very dangerous concept, and people
it's very dangerous. And we've been very lucky as a nation to have the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans on our borders. But they said they're going to infiltrate it. And you can see it. The cancellation on social media is a modern day book burning. The changing the words around in history books. What's like if you don't learn from history, you're going to repeat it. And just by silencing it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah, or changing the meaning of the words too, as well. But even more disturbing is that, like you say, that the not publishing the books or hiding the books and censoring the even information that such books exist is very disturbing. And toppling monuments, they are not compatible with the socialist ideology or the line taken by the lead politicians. That's what happened in Poland. In Poland, the entire history was so perverted. The whole monuments were toppled and removed, and in their place put the new pro-socialist like monuments. They destroyed so much history in Poland that I didn't know until the socialism fell how perverted the history has become under the socialist state. And it's not only in Poland; it's the entire Warsaw Pact. The country had to deal with the same socialist atrocities.
Where were you when communism fell? Were you in the States yet? I'm sorry, I don't have my dates correct, because you were in prison in the early '80s, correct?
Yes.
And then what happened after prison? How did you get here? Because I should know.
Okay, so that is a very quick answer to the first question. When the socialists collapsed, I was in training to be an Navy SEAL.
Okay.
As a U.S. citizen, I was American, and then the way it happened is when I left prison, I tried to resume normal life. So I tried to find a job. I tried to go back to train taekwondo, kickboxing, but too often coming back sometimes in the evening after the training, after working out with friends from my club, the secret police van or car pull along on the sidewalk, and just those goons, the socialist goons, and the weaponized police jump out of the van. They handcuffed me, dragged me back into it, and drove me away with friends. They were scared a little bit. They were afraid, but they knew who I was, what happened to me in the past. So they assumed that they knew those tactics were fairly normal in socialist states. So they just like, well, here we go. And what happened is they drove me around the town, outside the town, sometimes through some woods, then go back. For me at the time, it was a pretty scary experience. And
you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, ask them, what's going to do? What's happening? Where are we going? So the answer I got every single time I asked that, so when we get there, it won't really matter to you anymore.
That is such a scary answer. I can't imagine.
It is,
where are we going
woods.
when we get there? It won't matter to you anymore. It's like, God.
Yeah, so they didn't threaten me they're going to kill me because maybe that would be illegal or something. But, they said, well, it won't matter to you when we get there. And then here we go, turning into the woods of the road outside of the outskirts of town. Like, what the hell is going to happen? And at that time, I learned that because they pulled that thing on me twice in prison when I was in prison under interrogations. So then I knew, but I started worrying that after that, if I still do not change my mind, then they're gonna eventually I never come back from there one of these days. So I went to U.S. Embassy.
You know one thing that you wrote about too that really is scary if you think about it. When you were trying to smuggle jeans and fur hats into Romania and Russia, you said something along the lines of being in Russia and watching the crowd, the streets full of people all walking one direction on both sides of the street to work. No one's looking at each other. No one's talking. There are no cars. I mean, that right there should scare you enough to think we're all just walking to go work for the state. And then we're going to walk home and no one's talking. That's so scary, the government overreach that is potential that no one, I mean, I've never seen it. When I first went to Europe, it was after, it was 1998. I can't imagine what that's like to see what these people are living under and to think that a lot of this population here in the United States wants that.
Well, you have to remember that these people were living under socialist terror. Don't think for a second that they don't want to leave. They were good Russians. They just wanted to have the best in their lives for the children, but there was nothing there. There was no food. They had no freedom. And there was nothing to talk about. Most of them, they were tired for long hours working on the jobs, coming home, trying to feed the children, get up early in the morning. It's still dark at night. And I remember, so there was few lamps along those streets where we were walking. But we can come back later how I ended up there. But so we tried to mingle with these crowds so that we wouldn't be picked up by the police as smugglers. And so we left.
What were you doing? You were smuggling jeans from Poland into Russia?
Oh, yeah. So we decided to be rich. Everybody wants to go and say, I'm going to strike rich. In Poland, the way to get rich was only two ways. One, to go suck dick of communist system, so the socialist system, and go and snitch on other people, do all kinds of bad things, or become one of them. Or you just cheat the system. And people become so good at cheating the system that we just see like people coming back from these trips to Russia, to other countries, and buying themselves nice clothes, lots of food, and warm clothes, all kinds of cool stuff. So we said, we're going to do the same thing. We didn't know how to do it, but we found the girl. Well, we didn't know she was a prostitute at the time, but for us, it was like very rich girl because she had a lot of cool stuff, cool clothes and stuff and things. So we kind of like picked her brain how to do it. And she told us, yeah, this is what you do. You go to Russia with jeans, get as many you can, sell the jeans, buy the fur hats, like the Russians, famous fur hats, go to Romania, sell in Romania. In Romania, you go buy the cigarettes, go to Bulgaria, sell the Bulgaria, come back with the money, buy the leather coats. And then with the leather coats, you smuggle them back to Russia. You have to jump from the train because once you enter the Russia, you have to you have to come back pretty much on the same day. So all this trip, all the thing you have to do within like 24 hours. And then we didn't. It happened a lot of things up there because we didn't anticipate. But anyway, so we come back with full coat, the leather coat. You sell the leather coat for like lots of money. You change that ruble, the Russian money, for dollar. Then you roll the dollar into plastic. You use the cigarettes or cigarette lighter to like melt the ends of it, as big like my thumb, and then you have to swallow like 20 of these pills, whatever, just to get them to the border. So when we were swallowing it, one guy was always behind one of us, ready to go and start suffocating or choking, because people choke to death on those things. We're aware of it. but it's kind of, we were able to swallow them. But anyway, so we just go, you cannot just go bring a bunch of jeans to Russia. So we had to wear them. I was wearing like 6, 7, I don't know, 8, whatever, so many of this on myself that I couldn't get on the train. Actually, I had to be lifted up because I couldn't bend my legs in my knee.
You wear so many pairs of jeans.
Yeah. So they had to push me in it. And we went to Russian border. A couple of our guys, our lead guy, crazy guy, we call him Crazy Horse because he had a big teeth and crazy head because he was working with the samurai swords, and sometimes he actually attacked people with that sword and kind of injured them. But anyway, he was good in Taekwondo, so he was kind of crazy in the head, so he was Crazy Horse. Smile.
It's a
like
good name. It's a great nickname.
Yeah, just fitting him. He was a good guy. So he got caught. They caught nunchaku on him. So they beat him up with nunchaku, but they left him nunchaku. He gave them, I think, pair of jeans or something. Those border guards, they get happy. So we moved through the border. We sold the jeans. We bought the hats. We went to Romania. And in Romania, on the way to Romania, actually, we lost a little bit more merchandise. We had to kind of hassle with the border guards too again. And I sold all my stuff very quickly. Those hats were going like water. Everybody in Romania loved those hats. And then, but we are told, don't make a spectacle. Try to be discreet when you sell it. So that Johnny, the Crazy Horse, the crazy head, is telling us how to do it. We say, okay, so we did it. But now we cannot find Johnny. Where is Johnny? And then we see crowd of people, right? So we're thinking, good God, I think the car ran over him or something. There's accident. In socialist states, those quite common. The cars where people are not used to cars, those accidents were quite common. So we tried to get as quick as possible to see if he's not injured or something. He was not injured, but there was a crash caused by his selling those, like holding in his hand, this big four-hand, 500, whatever the value was there. And he was trying to sell one of those injured drivers, even that hat. And so we're like, Johnny, it's supposed to be discreet, man. We sold our roads. Let's get out of here. By the time I finished saying this, there was like 2 police civilians got me, got all other guys. They handcuffed us, took us to police station. So we lost pretty much. We lost a lot. I had my money stashed, but they didn't get my money yet because they interrogated Johnny. They stole all his money. By this time, the police station, there was in Bucharest, at the train station, they had a police station. So it was interesting in both ways. It happened that they brought like bags of potatoes, maybe like, I don't know, 40 pounds, 50 pounds bags of potatoes. And they just started throwing them on the floor, like stacking them up. And from another side, people were coming in and picking them up. I think it's one bag for a family or something. Whatever it was, we just didn't think twice. We just each of us grabbed the bag, throw on the shoulder, and just walk out the other door. And then we just ditched the potatoes somewhere.
Just blend in.
And but then we lost enough money that we had to go make another trip to Bulgaria and buy more cigarettes. So I stay with bags.
Now, is this so? You have the money that you swallowed. You already swallowed it. And you're still trying to get away.
Swallow this is on the way back. You swallow the money into Poland.
That's what I was thinking. That was on the way back. But in Romania, I thought you grabbed the potatoes to get away from the police or the border guards.
They took Johnny. They interrogated him. They took all his money. So he lost all his money.
Okay.
And now they got busy with those potatoes. So Johnny came out and was next has to be one of us. And we didn't think twice because they were busy with potatoes. People coming in, bringing potatoes. We just each of us grabbed the bag and just walk out with it. So that we kind of got away with it. That's what happened. So we need to compensate because we lost a lot of money. I mean, Johnny lost all his money. They also beat him up with the nunchaku. They found his nunchaku again on the police station. That's what it is. You're a terrorist, and they start beating him up. And but they pulled him out of the interrogation room and was time for one of us, but they brought the potatoes. We get away with potatoes, with a bag of potatoes. So they bought cigarettes, brought more money, and then we decided to buy the coats. Oh my God!
I've heard the coat story, but tell it again. I love this story.
Well, I didn't know. None of us knew anything about leather. So for me, leather is leather. It could be even plastic. I couldn't tell the difference from it. So the plastic leather. So everybody. Each of us bought the codes we thought are the best for us. And I didn't have much money left after we split our money. So I have very little money left. But all I could buy is a little coat. And those coat like very tight, like here, but then spread outside. Looks like a tutu for the
tutu, the ballerina,
like ballerina, but long up to your knees. So, like tutu. So I say, well, hell, that's okay. I mean, this is leather is leather. I mean, there are some ladies in Russia who wants to go and I'm sure want to wear nice coat. So I got mine, and then we just traveled to back to Russia. But it was around Lviv. That was Ukraine. Ukraine was part of Soviet Union at the time. So we jump out of the train. We just walk through the snow. It was so funny because the train slows down, and everybody was like within like 24 hours. You have to be back in Poland, right? You could, to Soviet Union. When you left Soviet Union, get the stamp. You are leaving Romania. The same day you have to cross Polish border. So we had to jump off the train, sell it, and just get on the train. So the stamp will be the same day. Didn't happen to us, but yeah. So we jump off the train. I look around. There's like ants. Everybody jumping. It's all these smugglers.
Everyone's jumping off the train. How fast the train goes?
I would say it was like 150, 200 of them. And it was like a caravan, just like here in Mexican border, man. It was like just like from Mexico. Then we were walking up to Lvov with all our merchandise, bags, everything. So I was walking with my leather coat, in my bag and stuff. And the thing is that there was a horse's leather. It was stiff like a cardboard. So our guys, they had more money. They bought better leather, so they sold. I was the only one left with it, and I couldn't sell it for nothing. And on the top of it, you could not just walk with this leather in your hand, a leather coat in your hand. You had to actually wear it. Jesus, it took me. I was like so scared I would rip it because that was so small. When I put it on my hands, I couldn't even. I walked like this, and then this was so tight that I couldn't button myself. Right, so it was like up to here, and maybe around my, like below my chest, this tutu thing came out and like spread like a skirt. I look like transvestite. So I don't know how to say it.
What is the border of a cross-dresser? What is the border?
I look like a cross-dresser. Yes.
What's the border look like when you're crossing there? Is it like is like a border now? You get in and get your visa stamped or your passport stamped with whatever.
No, the train that was when we were traveling, they were put on the side track, and then there was the security team was coming in, the guards were coming checking your luggage. There was no free ride. I mean, they were checking everything. So we had to have these things. Hey, then I had just one leather coat, so that was okay. I could.
But it's a small one. It's
like a small one, yeah. So then I had to walk on the streets of Lviv. I had to walk in this leather because I couldn't carry it. So now imagine the guy walking around with the little girl's coat, and like old guy. I look like a pervert, and everyone was laughing. People were coming in. The Russians, they knew what I was doing. They knew that I'm just like saying. So they laughed, but they didn't want to buy my coat.
They didn't want to buy the damn coat. Is it easy to bribe the border guards and the police? Was it easy to bribe
police? Yeah, it was fairly easy. Yes, that's what our guys did. Because when I went to sell my coat, because eventually, like after a day, almost struggling, and nobody wanted to buy it, they were laughing at me. There was a group of like 3 guys. They came and said, "Okay, we'll buy it for you." I say, "How much?" I say, 400 rubles. He said, "Okay." And they have a trick. The trick looks like this. So that you go up there. The 3 of them go, it's illegal as hell. So one of them is in front of the building. You walk into the hallway up there, up the stairs, like half flight. And then they give you the money, you give them the code, and they just leave, right? Like, that's okay. But the trick was that they give you have the code in your hand. They give you the money, say, okay, count the money. You count the money, it's not 400, it's 370 rubles. So what you do normally, say, hey, you are short 30 rubles. So they say, let me have it. So they count. You just look at how he's counting. Yeah, he's short. Hey, can you give me 30 more rubles? Say, yeah. So he gets the 30 rubles. He basically hands to me 30 rubles. And as this guy gives you rest of the money, they say, police, get out. So you just stash everything when you can, you run, and then you realize it's time you took your eyes from the 307 rubles. there was newspaper inside. They switched it. But so for me, 370 rubles was like in heaven. I say, I'm not going to complain about being stiffed on 30 rubles. I say, so I took the money, I stick in my pocket, and knocked the guy one, I kicked the one who was downstairs, and in outside before they had a chance to even yell police. And the thing is that I ran the wrong way, so I ran away from the train station. So by the time I make it, the train I'm supposed to be on was just leaving, and next one is next day. I say, I'm fucked as shit now. And then and I said, my guys already left. I'm so sad. I'm by myself. I'm scared now because they will be hunting me. So I went bought the biggest knife I could find, and actually I bought the knife before I made it there to defend myself, because they actually killed one of the smugglers there like a couple nights before, I think. So I'm just like so sad, pretty scared, you know. And then I see my friends. I was like, holy shit. They waited for me, you know. They
waited for you?
Hell no, they were just caught by the police. The money was.
Oh, they got busted.
They were just released from the police station. So.
Oh, they didn't wait. They just happened to be there.
Yeah,
the rolled them up too. And now, how long was this? How many times did you do this smuggling thing?
Just one time. After that time, I came. You know, I was supposed to come back millionaire. I came back for like I earned like $10.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of work for $10.
$80. I came back with 90.
How much of the money did you have to swallow?
Oh, I had to swallow $90. So, so because we switched the rubles for dollars, and then we had to roll them. Oh, that was really scary. But the problem was like we were already sick by this time, and one of the guys, sure it is, you know, got the shits, and that's so bad. He just ran to the toilet, didn't think twice. So he
shit all the money.
Dollars right on the Russian truck.
Hang on to this guy. He's shitting money.
Yeah, that happened. It took
that's all before prison, right?
Yeah, that was before the prison. This is money laundering. I'm talking like real money laundering. I had to launder this like 10 times before they stopped smelling after that.
Geez. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And they probably never went back to the train tracks to find the rest of it, huh? Would those trains really do that? Just dump the waste all over the tracks?
Yeah. You just open, you can see actually the ground.
Oh, you can see the ground. You just do your thing in there.
You just do your thing, then you just push the water leaks, and you just dumps it on the truck.
Wow, that's insane.
No, they don't do it now. How it is? They have those.
Oh no, of course, yeah.
But there was socialism.
And so on all this is before you even went to the United States, like all the smuggling, the fighting, the train tracks, the prison, and solitary, and then so you got out of prison. You said you tried to find a job, but then it just wasn't worth it.
Well, I got in trouble also with prison. I didn't mention about it too, because when they put me to this bigger prison, I was still before the sentencing. And I thought I had my co-conspirator, I guess, in the next box. We're working for 30 minutes. The box is like maybe like 30 feet by 20 feet. I don't remember it was very small. But I said, well, you know, and you've seen those in Iraq, these fences. They were like posts, and between the posts, like a reinforced concrete slab is slide on the top of each other in the grooves in these posts, and just keeps going. So we practice in Taekwondo in our demonstrations. Sometimes we practice with just breaking those plates. So I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just jump out, kick very little bit, so maybe get between these plates. They put like a dirt, cement, whatever. So I just kick it off a little bit. I can see to the crack if this is actually real, my friend. I don't want to communicate to somebody like I don't know. It could be a snitch. So I did. I just took it like a couple steps. I jump and I kick it, but that shit fell out.
Knocked the whole damn thing over.
The whole damn thing, yeah. So the plate below bent into it. It didn't broke completely, but just bent enough that it just fell off. The top one came on the top of it. And all the alarms and bells are ringing, and that's the whole shit. And then, so I was dragged out to the prison warden, given isolation, and then from isolation, actually, I went to another cell where I met my first fellow Solidarity trade union member, the political opponents of socialism. And then he was very close. His name was Edek Kędziorski. We are still friends. I met him a year ago, and other political prisoners. So yeah, that was not so good. And then when I beat up the other guy, so with Edward, we're practicing Taekwondo. I was teaching him, and actually he credits me with what I taught him later, saved maybe his life when he was beaten up viciously by prison guards. Later on when he was moved to different prison. So he said, "What you taught me then, how to avoid the punches, how to duck, how to move. I think it helped me to survive." So there's two people in prison who actually say that I helped them by teaching them this. So yeah, that's so we are still friends. I just met him when I was in Poland. Actually, I went to Poland in October last year to reunion of former political prisoners in Poland. Poland is free state. Poland is free country right now. So they invite us actually to that prison to tour the prison that I was.
Oh wow! You went back to the prison you were in.
Yeah, the picture. I sent you a couple of these pictures. There's the cell. In the prison cell. That's the cell I was sitting in. So it is in my book. So that I have these images in my pictures in my book. Mm-hmm. So I got in trouble again before I was sentenced to 3 years of prison, and then after I was teaching Edward how to fight, how to defend himself. Edward was pulled in the transport to another prison, so I was moved to another cell. They already knew who I am. So one of these big, supposedly gang leaders say I have to teach him how to fight, to show him something. I say, sure, yeah, I had a powerful sidekick. So, I was breaking reinforced concrete plates. So I say, like,
yeah, right.
So I say, well, you know what you can do? Just hold your hands right here. I'm going to.
Oh, man.
Right here. I just had no idea it's coming. So
put your hands in front of your face, make a fist, and I'm going to kick you.
Make it stiff so I can kick you right here, like a sidekick. And I had a powerful sidekick. So that guy busted his lips. He flew through the cell. He hit his head on the door with a big bang. I mean, you can hear this bang, I think, in the entire prison. Boom, and fell asleep. So we woke him up. It's like, okay. He got up. His mouth are bleeding, all that stuff. And but then he started attacking me. He said, like, you just made me look bad, and I'm going to kick your ass. So this time I really knocked him out. But then we got scared that this is what's going to happen now. He might die. So we start banging for the guards to come in, and they pull him out. He left, but I went to warden again. But this time they told me you're gonna spend a week in the tiger cage. I was like, tiger cage? Never even heard of it. What's a tiger cage? You will see what it is. 1 week. So okay. So I'm thinking, like, tiger cage. They do all kinds of things to political prisoners. Maybe they do have a tiger, and they will just go
throw you with the tiger,
torment with the tiger. So we walk into that cell. Dude, I just burst with laughter. I couldn't contain myself not to laugh. So I never laughed so hard in my life. So you walk into the cell, and there is a real cage. It's like a cage that's bars like my thumb thick, and it's like all over. It's just like you can walk in the cell around this cage, and in this cage is just a hard bed and little desk that you can put it so you can eat on it, and then you cannot even like stand up comfortable there. So I was like, "That's the tiger cage. It looks to me like a rabbit. Looks to me like a rabbit cage."
Oh my God! Did they keep you there for a week?
They were pissed because they thought that I'm just making fun of them, but I just couldn't contain. It was so surreal. So it's like, I spent like maybe 2 days, and they pulled me out in transport. So now you're going to real prison after my sentencing, and I went to prison.
Oh, but this is before prison. The tiger cage is before.
That was the prison, the second biggest prison. I was interrogated in the secret police headquarters, and then I was moved to this intermediate prison. When I was waiting for my sentencing, after sentencing, I was supposed to be moved to my destination, the state prison, the communist prison.
And that was one of the worst prisons in Europe, wasn't it?
It was one of the worst in Poland. That was known for its regime and perversions. So yeah, that I didn't know any better. That was just That was the first prison I was in, except this intermediate one. So I didn't know the difference. But that was easy. When I made up there, finally, there were just only political prisoners there. They have criminals too on different blocks, but there was whole blocks of us political prisoners, and that was like so different. I mean, I found myself amongst professors, among engineers, among philosophers, among teachers, students from universities. And for me, there was just my education just began. And like Andrew Krasuski, who organized all kinds of protests, Karamba, and Vitek, there's Christoph, there are so many people. I quote them in the book. I have actually acknowledgement in my book to these people because they helped me survive. They taught me so much about socialism, communism, the history of Poland. Andrew Krasuski, he was the expert in Polish history and in general in the history. So he actually, we forced prison administration to allow us eventually at the end of it, before amnesty, to gather together. And Andrew Krasuski was doing classes for us on the Polish history. Extremely, I mean.
So they would let you communicate then?
They would let us communicate then. They not initially. Initially, it was pretty much the same regime like the prison I came from, but people were different. They were all political prisoners, so they were like philosophers, engineers. They're like, "Fuck you, socialists and communists. Fuck this socialist oppression." So they were they were real heroes. I was single, right? So I did not have any, especially family besides my mother outside. But these people were having wives, children, the entire families, and they didn't know if they are coming back. That the typical socialist way of dealing with people like this was killing them or sending them outside of Poland, like Siberia or somewhere. So it happened then, but there was a real fear in us. And these people still stuck to their guns. They still did not get converted. They say, no, this is not the right thing. I'm not socialist. I will not support socialist state because it's pervasive, it's dangerous, and it's murderous. And they never bent. They never, and even if their families were threatened, some of the families were persecuted. I mean, all the families of these political opponents were persecuted, and so they are real heroes.
Oh yeah,
that's my education.
And that sort of tells you how important it is too. If they're, I mean, these are well-educated people, well-educated in history, and they're not bending to the state. Yeah.
Absolutely, and so I kind of have to mention. So in prison, I describe in the book a little bit better. Winter hunger strikes. I think it was like around month. I don't remember now. Winter hunger strike for some, I think, beatings, and they start breaking our hunger strike because after 2 weeks you have to be forcefully fed. So basically, what they were doing is they would bring the pipe like this big, corrugated pipe. For me, it looked like the vacuum pipe. Maybe it looked like a vacuum pipe. And they shove it down your throat, into your stomach, all the way to your stomach. And
all the way down to your stomach?
Yeah, yeah. And they have a big jar, and they just have a measuring cup, and they put like a funnel, the tube and the
funnel on a pipe shoved down to your stomach.
Yeah, and then they put into the funnel and just put it out. So I panicked first time. I broke the chair because I would start suffocating and I thought I would die. But later I learned how to do it. So like, we all learn. But older people, all these professors who were sitting there, they were like something like 60, 65 years old. And then so they were told, look, I can shove it down your throat, your stomach, but you are here in the room, nobody sees. Why don't you just drink it yourself? Just
right.
Instead of putting in you just take it, drink it, so I don't have to shove this pipe. Some people say, okay. So as soon as he started drinking with his hands, it was like, all right, your hunger strike is over. You're going
Strike's over. Yep.
You already you just ate yourself. You broke the strike. So this is how they treat many of these older people, but most of us survived. So but then the call from the church, Catholic Church, came to stop it because we will never get status of political prisoner. they will always say that we are criminal. We just
is that what that's what all they're trying to do is make you admit you're a criminal?
Yeah, that's how we were. Well, you know, according to the law, we broke the law. So if we broke the law, so then we are criminals. And some of them did not even break that law. Some of them were just because they were dangerous. They were just made up charges, or they twist some of the charges to look more like criminal, or like the charges something they could be in prison for. And nowadays, like all these guys, including myself, were fully exonerated by the Free Poland, by Polish government. So my documents, everything about my case, is on the Polish government website with my name and everything. So yes, we all were fully exonerated. And that was the reunion of political prisoners when I was attending I met some of these guys who are my heroes.
Oh, so, yeah.
And I described them in the book too, so you can see some of that.
Oh yeah, the book is fantastic too. You know what I got to do, brother, is I'm going to probably cut it right there, because you and I have a history together. I got to hear about your SEAL training. I remember meeting you at SEAL Team 2 the first time I checked in. And we're going to just save that for another episode, because I thought it was important. I thought it was important there's so much more to your story, everything from the boy you were to the man you are, as far as fighting in the streets to now. Because like I said, you never struck me as a bully. I always knew you were a tough guy.
Because I was American.
Yeah, it's and I want to get
was already American.
So awesome. I want to get into the transition from Poland to the United States and talk about the Navy in Memphis. And I think we're going to need to get a fresh start on that, because we got a lot of war stories to tell, a lot of liberty stories to tell, a little bit of fun in Egypt. I'll post some of those pictures so people can see the hookah pipe. But what can I plug for you? Obviously, the Pledge to America. Everyone's got to read this book. I'm going to read it a second time because I didn't want to skim it too much. But what else you got going on? Navy SEALs Fund.
So we run charity. It was made by Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs are on the board of directors who administer the fund. It is in the 501c3. The logo is right behind me. We're a little bit different because we don't have paid positions within our organizations. Everything is being done on voluntary basis. I'm not saying like anything wrong with people getting paid for doing their work, but just within my organization, our organization, the Navy SEALs Fund, we just don't accept money. We don't want money. So every penny that comes in to Navy SEALs Fund and goes to the program, goes to our guys, our families. We support from people from UDTs and pre 9/11 Navy SEALs too. And not only Navy SEALs, but their families and also siblings and children, which are very often omitted by some other charities. So we include everybody. If you are anyway connected with Navy SEALs, like being a Navy SEAL, and you are part of the family, or you are family of a former Navy SEAL or retired Navy SEAL, we are there to help you. And for us, it's like it doesn't matter if you are SEAL and how you left the Navy, on what conditions you left the Navy. If you are Navy SEAL one time, 5226 or officer, we'll stand by your side. We'll make sure that you can put bread on your table and you can live life like I'm living now. Thanks to America. Everything I have, everything I own,
so cool,
I owe to America. I still tear up when I say that.
No, I know, and it's great to see it. I can hear it in your voice. I know you very well. Navy SEALs Fund has really stepped up in the past. You guys are great. You're always and you know, even if someone's having a bad day, they can call you. Just everything from helping out monetarily and just someone to talk to, someone to have a cry with. There's nothing wrong with that occasionally.
But you know, I need to say that too. This is something I learned from people like you, from people like my fellow other SEALs, who I always wanted to be like. And I would like to bring one name here as a guy I totally admire. He's so you know, the funny story, I was telling him story about him, and he's like, you're talking about me. That's me. Basically, I'm talking about Ryan Parrott, the Birdman.
Oh, yeah, Birdman. Birdman's awesome, man.
In Habanilla. He got his nickname because he flew out of this Humvee when they hit the IED like a birdman. That's how they count him. And so the guy basically landed off the X in fact, it was a safe place. What he does, he runs back into X place, onto the X in the ambush to save guys. And he is all burned up, all poked up, but he's not thinking about himself, the injuries that he's sustained. He's thinking about the other guys. He's pulling the guy. I mean, the guy is a hero for me.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to talk about him more in the next.
No, we will. We're going to get into a lot of that. I always thought they called him the Birdman because he's such a good skydiver. And then he told me, no, I was in a Humvee tour and I got blown out of it like a bird.
Like a bird. Yeah.
No, it's incredible. Yeah. So NavySealsFund.org. And your website is DragoDzieran.com.
Yes.
DZIERAN, Drago. And you're one of those guys too, by the way. You probably don't know this because you're so close to it, but you're one of those dudes that just needs one name. You say Drago and everyone in the country knows what you're talking about. It's awesome.
I don't know, but I'm American.
You're an American, and you're an American success story, my brother. And it has been so great talking with you. Like I said, we're going to catch up again really, really soon and talk about some Navy SEAL stuff. But everything, your life is incredible. You're incredible. I love you, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Love you, brother. Talk to you next time. Stay safe.